Hey, good morning to you. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. As we look at our passage, I'm looking forward to the study with you today and tonight's men's study at 5 and the midweek activities taking place at Westview. I typically write the dates in my Bible as I do devotionals, as I preach sermons, as I do my studies. And today we want to look at Acts 18, beginning in verse 19. There's a date written in this that's 3/7 of '07. So 15 years ago, I had looked at this passage. It's one of my older Bibles, and it's a good passage. So if you would, let's look at verse 19 as we begin. It says, "And he came to Ephesus and left them there. But he himself entered the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they asked him to stay a longer time with them, he did not consent, but took leave of them, saying, I must by all means keep this coming feast in Jerusalem, but I will return to you again, God willing. And he sailed from Ephesus. And when he had landed at Caesarea and gone up and greeted the church, he went down to Antioch. After he had spent some time there, he departed and went over the region of Galatia, Phrygia, and order, strengthening all the disciples. Now a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the Scriptures, came to Ephesus. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in spirit, he spoke and taught according accurately to the things of the Lord, though he only knew the baptism of John. So he began to speak boldly in the synagogue. When Aquila and Priscilla heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of God more accurately. And when he desired to cross to Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him. And when he arrived, he greatly helped those who had believed through grace. For he vigorously refuted the Jews publicly, showing from the Scriptures that Jesus is the Christ. And so Paul had shaved his head as he headed this way. So he took the vow because he wants to take part in the great feast in Jerusalem. And so he says, God willing, I'm going to go there. It's a good thing if we mark our life, measure our steps by if God is willing. We have a heart for something. We need to make sure that God's in it. And then we need to move forward. So he comes to the places he's been before as he's traveling through the region, Ephesus, Galatia, Phrygia, and he comes to these. And we see this certain Jew named Apollos, eloquent man, mighty in the Scriptures. And he's there at Ephesus. And so he is preaching, he is sharing, he is teaching the way of the Lord, but he only knew the baptism of John. So he begins to speak boldly. And then it's Aquila and Priscilla, these former folks that we have seen that have spent time with Paul and have understood the Scripture and knew also, they took him aside and explained the way of God more accurately. Now, you need to dig in a little probably to understand that, but if he only knew the baptism of John, then he didn't know about the relationship of Jesus Christ and the grace that we received through the resurrection. And so they explained this to him. And afterwards, he desires to cross to Achaia, and the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him. And listen, when he arrived, he greatly helped those who had believed through grace. For he vigorously refuted the Jews publicly, showing from the Scriptures that Jesus is the Christ. That's pretty awesome. This is a person who speaks eloquently, has studied the Scripture, but he's still willing to listen that he might know the way of God more accurately. We are never too old to learn. We never know too much that we don't need to know a little bit more of the right things. And so this is what this gentleman did. And we need to be doing that. I still remember Brother Moses, C.E. Moses, the pastor. I used to love it. 30 years ago, we would gather on Monday's associational office and have a coffee. It was a kind of a pastor's time. There were 5 or 6 of us that would gather there. And Brother Moses, even though he was retired and probably in his 80s at the time, he would come in just so excited about something he had studied and had just learned in the Word. And I love that, and I want to be that way. I always want to be discovering and learning a little bit more. And I pray that you're that way also. I pray that you'll do that so that you'll be like this Apollos, that you'll be able to refute those publicly, showing from the Scriptures that Jesus is the Christ. We need to know the Word. We need to be excited about that. We need to encourage and exhort others and help those who believe through grace. So I pray you have a great day. I pray that that will be your intent this day, that you'll exhort others, that you'll encourage others in the grace of the Lord. Have a great one. Know that you're loved as always, and it waits for you. Hey, we're here for you, so God bless.